time explaining to folks that I'm not talking most of the time to the LGBTQ community as much as I'm talking to or about the systems that I think have like these agendas for just attacking black people, depopulating us or whatever. And then, I have like I feel like a lot of black men in particular are circumstantially gay due to circumstance, due to being over policed and over sentenced at young ages in the prime of their sexual prowess, and to be piled on top of the same sex, it may be a causation. I'm not saying that, I'm not here to argue with anyone about if it's a possibility to be born gay or if it's a choice or any of that. I don't even feel like it's my place because I can't really argue with it. I don't identify. I'm a cisgender female. I identify as what I was born, and I am, romantically attracted and sexually attracted to the opposite sex. So I don't put myself in a place to be telling somebody else who is experiencing something that I don't know about what the fuck they experiencing. I don't believe in people being abused, misused, or mistreated based on any of that. I don't approve of that. I don't promote that. I actually promote supporting anybody black in wherever they have landed, sexual preference or otherwise. But I do have a hard time getting people to understand that, like I'm saying, I'm speaking to the systems that they also say oppress them and not the LGBTQ community when I say that there are things that actually play a role in causing homosexuality in the black community. I believe that there are systems in place. I don't understand how people can know of and understand of the system doing like harmful things to their population that they are most concerned with or that's near and dear to their heart, do all of these heinous things to them, or we know historically things they've done to black people, the Tuskegee experiment and this and that, but we can't believe that they will put estrogen in the weed to effeminate the black man, or that there are things that they do that cause it. Like I said, mass incarceration is plays a huge role in that. And I just don't understand why people understand any fucking theory until you add a nigga to the equation. Man. Then they forget, and they just, shit. But we train to not have that understanding for black people.
I'd say too, like even when you start shifting the perspective of when we're talking about our children and what's saying, then what's being put on the media. Kids, like we be exposed to a lot when it comes to kids. And could this be a form of population control? You know what I mean? Them questions has popping up. The fact that it's being talked about so much. You feel me? And I personally believe that maybe there is some intentions to where it could be population control, because if you are homosexual, you can't reproduce, and then here it is, we have a future of what, like where's the humans gonna come from?
I think that we really need to recognize how that movement has been used as a weapon against the community, and the fact that it's not necessarily to say or to have anything against members of the community, because I feel like if you're a black, you're a part of the squad regardless, and we're gonna respect that. I just feel like we need to do a better job at protecting our kids and what they're being exposed to. And when it comes to like that movement infiltrating these curriculums within the school system, we need to really speak out against that, because I don't think that our black kids should be vulnerable to it, because I do think that those influences are being used to massively exterminate black people as a whole.
Like that ain't even been going on.
I think, but a lot of people argue and say, but what about the, the youth that identify as that, then they don't have like a safe space. And I still agree with you, because I think that although, I
think that there can be a safe space. I think the safe space needs to be an anti-bullying policy within the school system across all boards, not just.
I think that the messages that are put out there are very fucking persuasive. I think that sexual innuendos and messaging and everything in America is persuasive too. On not heterosexual as well. I think that all that needs to stop with kids, and it needs to be a more healthy and educating conversation, not persuasive either way. Persuading the kid to have sex, because I just don't believe that they are mature enough to be engaging.
Reggie, go ahead.
I was gonna say I agree. Like, I don't even think it's just sexual preference. Like she said, it's sex in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. As a kid, I was listening to My Neck, My Back. I was. So I know what we was talking about, but I was also exposed to sex in like kindergarten. So I knew what sex was very early. You know what I'm saying? But looking at kids now, it's like, damn, we had BET Uncut at like 3 a.m. Y'all got BET Uncut wherever you turn it on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get on Instagram, you get on Facebook,
TikTok.
You get on TikTok, you get on YouTube. Wherever you turn, it's something sexual. And I'm like, that's not coincidence. You know what I'm saying? But I think as far as anybody, because I have a lot of gay friends, and like you said, a lot of them do say, like, my uncle was gay, and a lot of them do say, like, I was touched or something happened, and a trigger switched. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
for the rest of their life.
But it also sucks because growing up in a black household, you don't get the opportunity to be something other than straight.
Yeah.
You don't get that choice
To even have those.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I think I like dudes. I'll beat your ass.
Man.
Simple. There's no questions. There's no conversations. It's literally like, if you don't like chicks, I'ma fire on you. Like, one of my closest friends, his dad was like, "Oh, you gay?" He was like, "Yeah," and he fucked him up.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
to like blow for blow, like beat him up. So it's like, in one breath, it's
Shit like that disgusts me though.
yeah, like it's like I feel like you need an environment where you can be loved on, but at the same time, you do not need to push an agenda. Like, I think because it's a sexual preference, a lot of people have made it their business. Who you lay with is not my business.
Yeah, there we go. That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
That's not my business. It doesn't change.
That's it.
It doesn't change who you are as a person. Like I said, I have gay friends that they've never came at me, no way. We just kick it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my homeboy. No type of like, yo, like one day, like, no, like literally.
It shouldn't have to define them.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean,
And if there was someone somewhere talking to kids about, liking the opposite sex and pressing that, pushing that, we would be like, you're a fucking pedophile and y'all are sick.
facts.
So it's like to be pressing them, saying, if you like something else other than what's the norm or other than what's the traditional, or if you feel like something else other than what you were born, and all of that, like, I feel like it's as sick.
Any child that is 13 and under, if they're making their mind up about sexuality, we need to question what and who exposed them to sexuality. I think that is going to say and set off a lot, because at that point, then that's when we need to start
and it
getting
starts somewhere.
Yeah.
You know? Back to what we were saying earlier. I think for me, and this is my experience, all the people that I know that are lesbian, gay, whatever the case is, every one of them, I have a conversation, I'm like, why are you like this? Because I want to understand the community. Every one of them have to say, something happened to me at a younger age. I experienced something. I kissed a girl did this to me. This happened, and they became curious, and it just went on. And it's the same thing for the males. I mean, anybody correct me if I'm wrong. Everybody has experienced something, and at a young age, and it just grows. But nobody just wakes up and is like, okay.
Okay, Carlos?
You want to go first?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I think it's kind of important, and I was going to mention this earlier, as far as like us as African Americans facing our, fighting for our civil rights issues, I think it's kind of important to recognize what is actually that we're talking about, and it's, a sexual preference. It's a sexual preference. And so when we're speaking about children and stuff, like we were talking about it offline, like I don't think that it's necessarily appropriate to be having a conversation about sexual preference with a 5-year-old, with a 7-year-old, with an 8-year-old. Being a father of a little girl, there's a lot of conversations that you need to have. But as we all know, because we went through the adolescence, like your mind is developing. There's certain conversations that you're just not ready to fully comprehend or deal with, and that being exposed to certain things at a very young age can have detrimental effects or lasting effects. Either way, exposing a person to, I would say some of these kids are natural in having some of their thoughts and being confused. If you have a little girl and she may see another little girl at preschool, at her elementary, and think, oh, this girl is beautiful. She's really pretty. We like the same things. We like to play the same games. Oh, I'm gonna give her a kiss. She's my girlfriend. I could see that, being something, but that doesn't necessarily mean
What about with a boy?
Or vice versa. Mm-hmm. I could see a young male having those thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. But they're not really sure what those thoughts are. It could just be, man, that's just a really close friend, and they're really finding out what a BFF is. Mm-hmm. But when you start to allow kids to make adult decisions, then you're basically guiding them and forcing them into, certain lanes at a very early age. And I think that's where it starts to kind of become the problem. I remember the famous quote Boosie had like a year or two ago. He's like, don't cut his dick off, man. Come on, man. Come on, dog. And, everybody kind of killed Boosie, and I know he said some controversial things that I don't agree with a lot, but what he was really saying in his essence, he was saying what they were telling him is they were saying that Dwayne Wade was allowing his son to transition to a female. Whether that's true or not, that's what they were telling Boosie, and Boosie was basically saying,
it's too early.
Don't make a permanent decision for a kid now. Mm-hmm. If he chooses to do that when he's 18, whatever, then that's his decision. But man, Boosie, and he said in an interview, man, he's 15, 16, he might be 18, you know what? Damn, I like girls now.
Kids you wouldn't let get a fucking tattoo or decide.
Yeah, he could change his mind, and you making a permanent decision for that young man. And all I'm trying to say is, we do have to remember it is a sexual preference, and maybe that's not the best thing to introduce to young children. Maybe we should allow them to learn themselves a little more, have these questions, and develop and make an informed decision for themselves when they're of a more appropriate age. More appropriate age.
I understand that the black community has not treated the LGBTQ community members well, or with open arms. I just still don't believe that our issues are even separate in all the ways that people do. I think that it's noteworthy to give them their space to speak about what they deal with, but it's hella anti-blackness in the LGBTQ community. Mm-hmm. I've heard too many people who identify as it speak on it. So it's still, I'm just saying, like, if the LGBTQ community that's black got an issue, then the black community got a motherfucking issue, like, because they black.